On est prêt pour le départ de cette finale du 800 chez les hommes. Et voilà, le coup de départ est donné.
J'ai toujours été fasciné par les coureurs kenyans. L'élégance de leur foulée, leur agressivité sur la piste, mais surtout leur performance.
Kipketer a imposé un rythme très accéléré. Et voilà. Regardez David Rudisha. On est à 1,36, 1,37. Attention, voilà David Rudisha qui s'amène et l'emporte en 1,42,16. Une autre médaille d'or pour le Kenyan David Rudisha.
Au cours des 3 derniers Jeux olympiques d'été, les Kenyans ont remporté 42 médailles, dont 14 d'or, sur des courses de 800 mètres à 42 km. La moitié des 100 meilleurs temps de l'histoire au marathon appartiennent à des Kenyans, dont le record du monde chez les hommes et chez les femmes. Comme journaliste et coureur amateur, je me suis toujours demandé comment le sport le plus accessible au monde, la course à pied, peut être dominé aussi outrageusement par un seul peuple.
Je pensais qu'au début, peut-être que les Kenyans avaient un avantage morphologique avec un poids qui était plus bas que certains autres coureurs, des membres plus effilés au niveau des membres inférieurs. Mais je me suis aperçu que la force du mental est probablement l'élément le plus important et qui les distingue le plus par rapport aux autres coureurs.
Eux, c'est un emploi. Tu cours pour sortir de la pauvreté, pour avoir un revenu, pour pouvoir nourrir ta famille, essayer de pouvoir avoir une terre, pouvoir survivre avec ça par après.
En parlant avec des Québécois qui ont côtoyé de près des coureurs kenyans, c'est vite devenu clair que s'il y avait une réponse à ma question, elle se trouvait dans un petit village perché à plus de 2000 mètres d'altitude dans la vallée du Rift, au Kenya. Bienvenue à Iten, la ville des champions. Ici, tout commence à l'école St. Patrick's avec Colin O'Connell, un missionnaire irlandais arrivé en 1975 et surnommé le parrain de l'athlétisme kenyan.
When I came to Kenya in the 70s, the dominant middle distance force were the British. We had Sebastian Coe, Steve Ovett, Steve Cram, Peter Elliott, all these great middle distance runners. Now, of course, genetically, talent doesn't go away. So what has changed in Britain? What has changed in Kenya? Kenya has come up, Britain has gone down.
Le premier héros de l'athlétisme kenyan s'appelait Kipchoge Keno, gagnant du 1500 mètres des Jeux de Mexico en 68 devant le grand champion américain Jim Ryan. Mais la domination kenyane est venue plus tard, après que Colin O'Connell ait commencé à organiser à St. Patrick's des camps d'entraînement pour les meilleurs jeunes coureurs du pays. Des espoirs qui allaient devenir dans les années 80 la première grande génération de coureurs kenyans.
Of course, as they started winning races overseas, breaking world records, the Western athletes began to ask questions. You know, where are all these athletes coming from? And how do they train? And what's going on, basically, in that little place called Iten.
It's unique, this place, because I think that at the moment we in Iten we can have about 2,000 people living. 2,000 people living, 1,800 are runners. Are you ready? Yeah. Okay, come. I came here because I was lecturer at YWF for 2 reasons. One, to teach to the athletes the new methodology, the modern methodology of training. Second, to understand their interpretation. So I come here for teaching and for learning, because the best in the world were already Kenyans.
Tell me one thing, do you feel something because you are limping a little bit?
We can say that the 95% of the top Kenyan athletes are from this area. It means 50% of the world, practically.
Le record canadien au marathon est de 2 heures, 9 minutes et 25 secondes.
Here, 209 is for farmers. It's not for athletes. Because if you run 209, you are number 100 in Kenya. So, number 100 in Kenya, you can't think that you need to be professional.
On parle souvent des coureurs kenyans, mais ce sont en fait les coureurs d'origine kalenjin, un seul des 42 groupes ethniques du Kenya, qui remporte la grande majorité des médailles du pays. Un peuple de quelques millions de personnes qui courent plus vite et plus longtemps que le reste de la planète.
Moi, je vois un avantage mécanique avec des segments des membres inférieurs plus longs, un tendon d'Achille qui est plus long. Ils ont aussi un mollet qui est de plus petite circonférence.
Kalenjin are like a Formula One with the body very light. No? Other tribes can have the same engine, but the body is very, very, very heavy. At the end, they can go to the same speed, or maybe also faster, but they finish the fuel before.
Plusieurs autres facteurs jouent en leur faveur. Traditionnellement, leur alimentation est simple et saine, mais surtout, ils vivent en altitude.
You know that in altitude we have less oxygen, so practically for running the body needs to use more energy and can suffer a little bit more. Of course, there is an advantage.
Certains croient même que c'est la course pieds nus durant leur enfance qui avantage leur développement.
When I came, practically all athletes ran barefoot, because just for reasons they just didn't have shoes. Gives you a certain kind of a healthy respect for the ground. The first athlete ever to win a gold medal at the World Junior Championships, underage championships, was in Athens in 1986. A young boy called Peter Chumba from here. He won the 10,000 meters the first night, barefooted.
Mais rien de tout ça n'est exclusif au Kalenjin. Et c'est peut-être là que la science a ses limites.
There was a major study done by the University of Glasgow. They did all sorts of tests to see could they establish something regarding the genes, the running gene. They could never come up with any conclusive evidence that we'll say the Kalenjin people are genetically superior. And I kind of more or less told the guy at the beginning that I'll be very surprised if you can find anything. And I said, if you do, then we can tell the world, of the rest of the world, to forget about running. I think a lot has got to do with the lifestyle. Kenyans here come from very simple, humble backgrounds. So they have a toughness. They have a rural upbringing. They live at subsistence level.
Comfort is an enemy of everything that requiring the maximum level of fatigue and also physical sufferance. Here there is no science. The only thing when you arrive in that level of fatigue is the mentality. If you want to do something better with science, you go against the mentality.
Pour comprendre cette mentalité, j'ai décidé de sortir mes espadrilles et de rejoindre sur les routes de terre d'Iten des champions du monde, des Olympiens et des centaines de jeunes athlètes ambitieux qui ne font que courir, manger et dormir.
Une journée typique à Iten, c'est tu te réveilles le matin avec le bruit des gens autour, tu te lèves, tu pars faire l'entraînement avec le lever du soleil, tu reviens, tu déjeunes, tu fais une sieste, tu dînes, tu te prépares pour le prochain entraînement, tu retournes t'entraîner en fin d'après-midi, puis après ça, c'est le souper, puis quand le soleil se couche, tu vas te coucher, tu te prépares pour le lendemain.
Ronex Kipruto est le prochain grand coureur kényan aux 10 000 mètres. À 20 ans, il est déjà champion du monde junior et médaillé de bronze des mondiaux seniors. Mais avant de joindre le camp de Colin O'Connell il y a 5 ans, Ronex était un pur inconnu, même ici à Iten, qui ne s'était jamais entraîné sérieusement.
When I was younger, when I was going to primary, so I used to be running from morning to school and then coming for lunch, then going back to home in the evening. And that's where my athletics career started.
We start developing athletes when they are still young, when they are in school. So that's when you see their talents. So I go to many schools, competitions. I identify after one competition or two competitions, seeing them competing, then I call them to join this program. Ronex again I discovered differently. Ronex was beaten by our former athletes who were already in the camp. He was running barefoot, he was just a boy there. So I had two boys who were in our camp and who were ahead of him. So I say, if this boy is running barefoot and he's really struggling with my boys who are really trained and have spikes and all that, then this boy must be very determined.
Ronex is a very low-key, cool guy in terms of how he handles himself. And you can see the humble surroundings in which he lives. You know, the house where the athletes stay is not a state-of-the-art house. It's very simple. David Rudisha also lived down there in that house, even when he won the Olympics in London. And I like that about them as well, that they don't suddenly start demonstrating their wealth and their position and their status. But that's what I look for, and I look for it in Rudisha and I look for it in Ronex, and it's there.
What is your goal as a runner?
My goal now is just to run well, just to run well.
And what's your dream?
My dream is to run good times and be a great athlete.
Les coureurs kalenjins sont à la fois humbles et confiants. C'est encore plus évident chez Edna Cherotic, une autre jeune coureuse de l'équipe de Colin O'Connell qui ne fait pas encore partie de l'élite kenyane.
When I was younger, it was so difficult. I used to stay with my mommy. When we get like free time, we just going to look after the kettles, like cows, in the farm there. But one day I realized that if I run, I'll get something. Then I started running. And then I came and realized that I am an athlete. And this one will bring me to change my life and the life of my mommies. When I run perfectly, I'm sure that I'll become successful. I'll get a lot of money. Because when I sign management, I'll get maybe 1 million per year. And if I work as a teacher, I'll not get that 1 million. I'm sure of that.
À Iten, Edna côtoie des championnes tous les jours. Sortir de la pauvreté est extrêmement difficile, mais le chemin est simple, courir aussi vite que la meneuse du peloton. Tout le monde en un sens est à quelques minutes d'une vie meilleure.
There are people jumping from one group to another group and are able to run a marathon 2:07, are not the best. So they run sometimes very long and very fast. So you see who is able to run fast. You don't see the hundreds athletes that go to destroy themselves during 3 months or 4 months of training. So the secret is the motivation.
Us Kenyans, we like that. If you love something and be passionate of it, you are going to run well. Even you, I'm sure that if you want to run well, you'll get it. And you'll run like a Kenyans, yeah. I believe that.
The idea that a Western athlete can come in if they're prepared to train with the Kenyans, learn the lifestyle of Kenyans, learn about the culture and the toughness of Kenyans. If you're prepared to hang in there, your chances are very high. And when everybody stands on that starting line, you must remember that every athlete with you in that final has practically trained the same.
Alors c'est Faith Kipyegon qui a l'avantage qu'elle va maintenir jusqu'à la fin. Kipyegon l'emporte. Voilà Dibaba. Et pour la 3e place, est-ce que ce sera Robbery américaine?
Who is willing to break the pain barrier when it gets tough during the race?
Vivre pour courir et courir pour survivre. Ne jamais abandonner et surtout ne jamais s'imposer de limites. Tel semble être le secret des Kenyans.
There's no secret, but normally I tell people, as long as you still believe there's a secret, then that is the secret.